On November 29, 1970, a university professor walked through a remote Norwegian valley with his two young daughters when one of them spotted something behind a boulder. It was a human foot. What they found next would become one of the most baffling, unsolved deaths in modern history. A woman burned almost beyond recognition, surrounded by mysteries that, over 50 years later, still have no answers. This is the case of the Isdal Woman. The valley where she was found was already known locally as the Valley of Death due to a string of accidents and dark medieval folklore about people traveling there to end their lives. The professor and his daughters discovered a woman's body, her front severely burned, skin and clothing destroyed by fire. Yet strangely, her back remained completely untouched. Her body was contorted into what's known as a pugilistic posture, a position commonly seen in fire deaths caused by muscle contraction from extreme heat. But there was no evidence of any fire source at the scene. Scattered near her body were several burned and partially melted personal items: rubber boots, water bottles, a scarf, an umbrella, a purse, and a box of matches. Investigators also found a watch stopped permanently at 10 minutes past 2, a remnant of a passport holder, and jewelry. Underneath her body was a fur hat containing trace amounts of petrol, but not nearly enough to explain a fire of this scale. Every single label on her clothing and belongings had been deliberately removed or cut away. The autopsy revealed she had soot deep in her respiratory tract and elevated carbon monoxide levels, confirming fire had played a role in her death. But the toxicology report revealed something far more disturbing. Her system contained somewhere between 50 and 70 barbiturate sleeping pills, some of them still undissolved, with reports suggesting a few tablets remained in her mouth at the time of death. This was no accident. But was it murder, or had she taken her own life? 3 days after her body was discovered, police received a call about 2 unclaimed suitcases left at a train station in Bergen a week earlier. Inside, they found glasses with her fingerprints, fitted with completely plain, non-prescription lenses. They also found wigs, formal clothing, a hand-drawn train map between cities, foreign currency, hotel sewing kits from multiple countries, and a personalized spoon engraved with initials linking back to an Austrian manufacturer. Every single label, just like before, had been removed. One shopping bag still had a receipt, leading investigators to a shoe store in Stavanger. The shop worker remembered her vividly, a well-dressed, attractive woman who spoke English with an unidentifiable accent and shouted something to him in either German or French. He also noted something strange. Despite her polished appearance, she had an unusual, unpleasant smell, like garlic. This led police to a hotel in Stavanger, where she had stayed for 9 days under the name Fenella Lork, claiming to be from Belgium. When authorities contacted Belgian officials, no woman by that name existed, and her passport number was completely fabricated. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered an astonishing pattern. She had stayed in hotels across multiple countries, each time using a different name, a different fabricated birthplace, and a different fake passport. The handwriting matched across every single registration card, but in one instance, at the very last hotel she stayed in before vanishing, handwriting experts determined she had deliberately disguised her own handwriting style, suggesting that even she feared being identified by someone in those final days. Witnesses began coming forward with increasingly strange accounts. A hotel restaurant worker recalled seeing her dining in complete silence with an older gray-haired man who appeared to be reading documents the entire meal, with neither person speaking a single word. A hotel maid found a small table that the woman had inexplicably removed from her room and placed upside down in the hallway. In another hotel, a maid walked in to find the woman sitting silently with a young blonde-haired man, neither of them speaking or reacting, simply watching her until she left the room. None of these mysterious men were ever publicly identified, and disturbingly, references to them were left out of official police reports entirely. A furniture shop employee also recalled the woman shopping for an ornate wall mirror alongside a man, speaking a language neither German nor clearly identifiable, despite the fact that no one else ever reported seeing her with this mirror afterward. On November 23rd, she checked out of her final hotel, took a taxi with her 2 suitcases to the train station, dropped off her luggage, and was never seen alive again. The investigation soon escalated dramatically when Norway's secret police became involved, highly unusual for what appeared to be a standard death investigation. Just 3 weeks after her body was found, despite an active lead involving a witness near a naval testing site, police abruptly held a press conference declaring the case closed, ruling it a suicide. Reporters at the time noted officials were unusually tight-lipped, and one journalist later described finding a sealed, classified envelope inside the police files marked for the secret police chief's eyes only, an envelope that has since completely disappeared from official records. Perhaps the most chilling account came from a fisherman in a small port town who recalled seeing the woman approach and speak at length with an officer aboard a docked naval vessel, one actively testing a brand-new, cutting-edge missile defense system during the height of the Cold War, a system of significant interest to Soviet intelligence. Weeks later, while boarding a train with his family for a Christmas holiday, the fisherman was approached by 2 unidentified men claiming to be police. They handed him a handgun and a knife, instructing him to protect himself while traveling, never explaining who the threat might be. So who was the Isdal Woman? The most popular theory is that she was a spy, likely operating during the height of Cold War tensions in Norway. Her movements consistently aligned with sensitive military testing locations. But experts in espionage point out a serious flaw in this theory. A trained intelligence operative typically maintains only 1 or 2 carefully constructed identities. Juggling 8 or more elaborate false personas, as she apparently did, would be considered a massive operational risk, not professional spycraft. Other theories suggest she may have worked as a courier, moving information between operatives, or possibly had ties to political organizations rather than a single government. Recent forensic testing has only deepened the mystery. While dental analysis initially suggested she was in her mid-20s, advanced carbon dating conducted decades later estimated her actual age closer to 45, raising the question of why she would have lied about something as basic as her own age. DNA and isotope analysis suggests she may have grown up in Germany before later relocating to Belgium, but this still tells us almost nothing about what truly happened to her in that valley. A line in her personal notebook remains completely undecoded to this day. Every other entry in her notebook represented a location and a date, fully solved by codebreakers, except one. The very last entry, dated the day she disappeared, includes 2 unexplained sets of initials, ML and MM, that have never been identified. Today, only one police officer who originally worked this case is still alive. Her DNA remains preserved, waiting for a possible match that may one day reveal her true identity. But for over 50 years, the woman who died in the Valley of Death has remained exactly what that valley was named for. What do you think happened to her? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want more cases like this, subscribe to Mystery Minute. We'll be here every week, digging up the truth.